Goodison Park's first brush with Brazilian football came back in 1956 when touring Rio de Janeiro outfit Vasco da Gama were beaten 6-3 by Everton, despite leading their hosts 2-1 at the interval. The visitors' unfamiliar technique included double kicks, which would become known as bicycle kicks, and the shirt numbering system of the left back wearing number 6, which we have now come to associate with Brazilian sides. A decade later, the Brazil national team were based at Goodison Park for all of their Group 3 matches at the 1966 World Cup finals. Their World Cup campaign at Goodison ultimately flattered to deceive, as the reigning champions were knocked out, but there were no early signs of their malaise in the opening game as they defeated Bulgaria 2-0 with goals from Pele and Garrincha. Brazil were ultimately knocked out of the competition after defeats by Hungary and Portugal, with the Portugal game infamous for the Portuguese treatment of Pele, who was carried off after an hour with a knee injury, unable to continue. It wasn't until the 1990s that Everton started having dealings with Brazilian football again, and yet again, things didn't always go that smoothly. In 1994, the Blues tried to bolster their forward line further with a player from that summer's World Cup finals in the shape of Brazil international Muller. However, despite the 28-year-old getting as far as being in Everton Stadium, the proposed move collapsed. After 6 weeks of protracted negotiations, the deal fell through when the player arrived at Goodison Park with his advisors and demanded a tax-free salary. There was more controversy the following year when the Brazil national team returned to Goodison for the Four-Nation Umbro Cup. Everton expected a crowd of around 20,000, but with plenty of interest courtesy of late walk-ups to the ground, the official attendance surged to 29,237, leaving around 3,000 unfortunate fans outside, unable to get in as the police decided that no more tickets should be sold on safety grounds. Until recently, the Blues' recruitment of Brazilian players had proven underwhelming. It was David Moyes in 2002 who would finally land Everton's first Brazilian player, but if you had blinked you could have missed Rodrigo. After just 52 minutes of action for Everton in the shape of 4 substitute appearances, he succumbed to a serious knee injury and his time on these shores came to an abrupt halt. Incredibly, Anderson Silva's Blues career was even more short-lived. Loaned out to Spanish second-tier club Malaga, he finally made it to Goodison 18 months after initially signing from Nacional in January 2007, but ultimately played just 2 minutes of first-team football at Everton. After earlier disappointments, Moyes will have been hoping for Joe to prove third-time lucky when it came to recruiting Brazilians, and at first, that's how it looked. However, with all of the strikes coming in comfortable home wins, Joe was already looking like something of a luxury player and was moved on after his second loan spell at the club. Most recently, before Richarlison's arrival, there was Felipe Matoni, but he never even made it onto the pitch in a first-team match. Now, at last, Carlo Ancelotti has a couple of top-draw Brazilians at his disposal in the shape of Bernard and Richarlison. Will there be more to come?